Enjoy with your headphones for a better listening experience.
Please watch till the end of the video to have the most scariest part of the story.
Something's really weird about my new neighbor. Hey you all, I'm Jean-Baptiste. Everyone calls me JB. About 2 weeks ago, my parents moved me and my little bro into a fancier home in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Dad got a new, better-paying job. That's the reason they gave us. I know they wanted to keep Sam out of trouble. He's a good kid. He's just got a lot of imagination. I tell him he should make comics. Anyway, we were only there for a day or two when Sam starts to notice our new next-door neighbor. I'm like, what's the big deal, because he's telling me I have to come see the neighbor, quick before she goes in. So, I rush over to his bedroom window because it looks down on the neighbor's house. I'm thinking I'm gonna see a weirdo with a stuffed cat or something. But it's just this older woman, maybe about 40. She looks pretty in like a Barbie doll kinda way. It's weird though, 'cause it's really raining out and she just walking to the road to check her mailbox. You see the tidies on that? Sam asks. I slap the back of his head. Dad taught us to treat women with respect. He knows better. He's right, though. Oh no, she's stacked. And with her shirt getting all wet, we're seeing a lot more than we should. Bet you wish you picked this room, Sam said. I have to admit I was a little jealous. The neighbor on my side's a fat guy who likes mowing shirtless. How's that fair? So, I said to him, I think we'll be spending a lot of quality time together. And that's how and why we started paying so much attention to the neighbor. Sam swiped Dad's old army surplus binoculars. I had a telescope from when I was 12 and thought I'd be able to see other planets. We started turning out the lights at night and hoped for a show. Day 6. It didn't take long before we noticed some odd things about her. Like, she never sleeps. Her lights stay on all night. We see her walking around. Still in the same shirt. Like she didn't change it in days. I don't care if she doesn't sleep, Sam said. Why the hell won't she get naked? Maybe she's a meth head, I said. That's a big thing in Oklahoma. She didn't look like a meth head. How'd you know? The internet. We moved in 6 days ago. That night was the first Saturday after we moved in. That's when we saw the first really strange thing happen. We're peeking out the window like usual. Nothing's happened in a while and we're getting tired. Screw this, I say. She's never gonna show the goods. JB, Sam said. No, I'm going to bed. I can see tits on the internet all I want. Sam grabbed my hand. Not my arm, my hand. He hadn't done that since he was like 5. JB, look, he said with a swallow. He was pointing to her backyard. I looked where he was pointing. He wasn't sure what I was looking at first. It's 2 a.m., there isn't really any light in the backyard, except moonlight. And she has a big tree back there. So, I used the telescope. I'm a bit slow with it. Once I get it pointed out and adjusted, I see. The white shape comes into focus. And I'm looking at a face. Her face. She's in her backyard, peeking out from behind that tree. And she's looking right up at our window. Our lights are off, so she shouldn't be able to see us. Right? But she does. You know how you just know? We knew. I jump back from the window with a gasp. Oh crap, I say. How long she been there? He just shakes his head. We should be more embarrassed than scared. I'm a little of both. But Sam's simply scared. That's weird, man, he says. That's weird. I told him not to worry. She's probably just turning the tables on us. We were kinda invading her privacy, after all. So that'll teach us. Then he asks, you think she's still there? I don't want to look. It's just too freaky. So, I take out my phone, turn on the camera, and take a video for about 30 seconds. I just hold it up to the window and wiggle it around a little. Then I pulled the phone back in. When we play back the video, we're relieved. Just the tree, no white face watching us from behind it. My wiggling somehow got the whole backyard. She isn't there. Sam sighed and threw himself back on his bed. I decided to watch the video over again, just to be sure. The backyard really was clear. It's just that wasn't all. When I was pulling the camera back, it briefly pointed down. Directly below our window. And there she was, staring right up. Right there. Close enough she could probably hear us talking. I shouted a curse word and dropped my phone. Sam sat right up. I showed him, just to be sure I wasn't imagining things. He saw it too. We slept in my room that night and decided to tell Dad what happened in the morning. We knew it wouldn't go well. But at this point Dad was less scary than the busty neighbor. Sunday. Dad was all right. He made us march over to her front door and apologize for peeping. Probably the most awkward thing we ever had to do. Get this. She answers the door in this loose, lacy lingerie deal that showed us everything. I looked behind me to see if anyone else was witnessing this. But nope. When I got control of my jaw again, I said I'm sorry we watched her. We were both hanging our heads in shame. When I looked up to see if she was mad or if she was trying to seduce us or something, it was weird. Like, have you ever seen someone with no expression at all? It's like she was hypnotized. You should come in, she said. She didn't seem to feel it. She just said it. Sam looked at me. I think he was ready to take her up on the offer. I can't say I blame him. She looked really good. But I told her we had to be getting back. Dad's waiting. She closed the door without a word. And? Dad asked when we got back. I told him she didn't seem mad. And I told him what she was wearing. I felt if we were going to be in trouble, he should know she's teasing us, too. I can tell he doesn't believe me. He says he's going over there to apologize to us. If I find you're lying, you'll be wearing your balls for earrings. Hear me? We stood in the kitchen waiting for him. When he got back, his face looked slack and pale. He didn't seem mad at us anymore. He just looked like he'd seen something awful. Sam elbowed me, as if I didn't notice myself. Sit down, he told us. So, we did, and we all started eating breakfast. Mom was still asleep, by the way. She always stays up late catching the DVR on Saturday nights. Don't bother with that woman ever again, he said between bites. "'Kay, we agree. We didn't dare question him when he was like this. I mean, I've never seen him like this before. And that's what was so scary about it. We kept eating our breakfasts in silence. Until he asked, I ever tell you about Red Finney? He mentioned the name before. We knew Red was a kid in his neighborhood when Dad was growing up. Somewhere in Baltimore. But we didn't know anything really about him. We asked before, but he always changes the subject. So, we shook our heads. Red was stupid. You hear me? Stupid kid. Always poking his nose where it had no business. He took a bite of his scrambled eggs. There was this big, dark house on our street. 3 stories. No other house in the neighborhood is like that. It was there before the neighborhood got built around it. Old family just held on to that land. We had all stories about this house. We'd all look when the lights came on at night. Never see anyone come or go all day. One time we were watching, and we heard this scream. We know it's from that house. And it didn't sound good. From that day, Red got the notion in his head he was gonna get in there and see what was going on in that house. What does that make Red? Dad asked. Stupid, we both said. Anyway, then one day Red was gone. You thought this was gonna be a heist? We go in there and find some ancient jewels and a ghost and solve a murder? If Red did what he said he was gonna do, he didn't tell us. And we didn't want anything to do with it. Breaking and entering was not a part of how we wanted to start life. He just went missing. Never found him. We thought all kinds. Maybe he ran away. Maybe he killed himself somewhere. Dad, I said. You mentioned the house for a reason. Oh yes, that was another one. We thought maybe he went in there and maybe just never got out. But here's the thing. He paused to take a long drink of coffee. Like he was steadying himself for something. When Red went missing, that came up. And we met the owner of the house. Dad finished off his breakfast after that. Took his plate to the kitchen sink to clean it off. Stuck it in the dishwasher. Me and Sam looked at each other. Well, what I'm saying is, he said, that woman next door was on the same street as me when I was a boy. Damn, Sam said, she aged better than you. You're not listening. Too busy wisecracking. What I'm saying is, that woman next door was on the same street as me. Right? When I was a boy, she was a grown woman. Looked exactly the same. You don't forget a woman looks like that. What? Sam asked. Dad, that's not possible, I said. It's not for me to say what's possible or not. I don't need to know why or how. I'm just telling you like it is. And you're not to bother with that woman. Now let's get to church. I don't think Sam and I had ever been so quiet and well behaved in church. I don't know what was going on in his head. Probably something like what was going on in mine. Who is that woman? Is she related to the woman Dad grew up nearby? That's one hell of a coincidence. Not impossible. I mean, you hear of long-lost siblings working together in the same Taco Bell without knowing it. So, who knows? It's just, when you add her strange behavior to it, it's just a big WTF. Since then, we've only casually looked out the window. She hasn't been in the backyard staring at us anymore. And we've kept our word to Dad and left her alone. This other part of me just can't get her out of my head. I don't think Sam can either. He slept in my room twice since then. I think she's watching, he said. I asked if he looked. And he says, not a chance. That's where it's at. I'll let you know if anything else weird happens. Hopefully not. Because we're stuck in this house for a long time. I stayed up playing Mario Kart with Sam. Don't judge. Mario's bad. And we hear a sound outside. It's one of those times where you mute the TV, then you don't hear anything. So, you go back to what you're doing. Then you start hearing it again. Sam's like, I'm telling you she's out there doing something, JB. And I don't want to go look, so I try to tell him it's just a raccoon or something. If you want to look so bad, you go look, I tell him. We decided to go look together. It's not that smart of an idea. I mean, it's easier to see two people than one. We turned off the TV so there's no light. And we looked. We both curse and duck down right away. You think she saw us? Sam asks. She wasn't facing us, I told him. She was out there, but her back was on us. It looked like she was gardening or something. Keep in mind this is like 11 p.m. The folks are already in bed. And Barbie's out there doing yard work? I don't think so. She was digging, JB, he says, and his eyes got that scared look. We do paper scissors rock to see who has to look this time. I'm dumb. I always do paper and Sam knows it. So, I have to look. She's digging, alright, I tell Sam. Really going at it, too. Between her big tree and our fence. Think it's a body? Sam asks. Too small for a body, I tell him. What about a kid's body, he asks. Stop freaking me out. I tell him and flick his ear. What should we do? Sam's asking, as I know. Holy shit, I say suddenly. Because I just realized something. I thought she was wearing some tight, white suit or something. She's not wearing a suit at all. She's just in some lacy bra and panties. Is it a kid's body? She's half naked, I tell him. He jumps up and starts looking at me right away. Man. And here he was supposed to be all scared, but I say the word naked and he's up like grandpa at the bingo hall. She starts dragging something in a trash bag into the hole while we're both watching. And we both see it. Something in the bag's moving. I keep thinking of Red Finny. What if she's doing it again? Who would we tell? Sam must be thinking the same thing because he says to me, "We gonna have to dig that up." Oh, I almost forgot. There's this funny smell that comes from that house. It's worse at night. It's like burning sugar and plastic. And I saw this dog walking along, goes all the way to the other side of the road passing her house. I never saw a bird or squirrel in her yard either. I know I'm just psyching myself out, but it's crazy. Here's the other thing. I smelled that smell before. Like my mom's always saying, do you remember smells better than anything? This was when I was really young. We were out just me and Dad at the barber shop. Dad let me go out to the vending machine to get a snack. I smelled that smell coming from across the street. The door over there's open and I'm thinking this is a candy shop. I got my $2 from Dad, so I went over to get some candy. Then I hear Dad shout, no, not like he's mad at me, but like he's scared of something. I go running back, thinking I did something wrong. He grabs me up and he's just looking at that place. I'm scared and also disappointed. I wanted to see it in the candy shop. I'm looking at the place too, when I see a big snake slithering out and then the door closes. That's a bad place, Dad said and took me back into the shop. Later on, he told me they found some missing kid in there, so I have to never, ever just walk off again. I don't remember that part much. Just my dad's face when he grabbed me and that snake. So, anyway, Sam's like, we gonna have to dig that up. I'm about to give him a good punch in the shoulder and tell him he's nuts. But I don't do anything. Neither does he. We froze. 'Cause now she's facing us. You think she's staring at us again, but that's not it. She's bending forward to shovel the dirt into the hole. Like, leaning way forward. So, we get a good look at the scenic vistas of the Grand Canyon. Know what I mean? Sam grabs the binoculars and we each look out a side. While we're looking, I swear I hear her laughing. It sends the chills right through my bones. She's still just filling the hole, though. So, I don't know. Maybe it was in my head. Sam says he doesn't know what I'm talking about. After patting down the hole, she goes in. As soon as she's gone, Sam's ready to go over there. I try to talk him out of it, saying we should let Dad know. I'm going with or without you, he says. So, I told him to go. And what kind of flowers would he like at the funeral? 'Cause Dad's gonna kill him when he finds out. He tells me bye and heads downstairs. I want to strangle him. I do. But I can't let him go alone. We can't get to Dad's shovels without making noise. We can only get Mom's little garden shovels. Then we leapt the fence from our own yard. We could have just walked around. Except we might get seen if we do that. We tried to dig fast. We know she never sleeps. Except tonight, apparently. The first night since we moved in all the lights were off. We caught a lucky break. Digging with that stupid little shovel is taking forever, so I start getting in there with my hands. Soon I feel the plastic and I pull it up slowly. Like the very minute I have it, a light pops on in the house. I look up and see Sam's walking up to the back door. I grab him by the back of his pants and yank him. What? We got to run. He got this blank look on his face. Almost like her. I smack him and say, run. And he does. We don't even bother filling in the hole. We jump the fence and we're out there. Once we're in the house, we're like, oh shit, what if this is a kid's body, now it's in our house. I did paper again, so that one has to open it. Whatever was moving isn't anymore. I tear it open and look in. This big, nasty snake falls out of the bag. It slithers around a little until we get it to go out the back door. Sam's looking at me like something really isn't right here. Like, who buries a snake in a plastic bag at midnight? What kind of voodoo is that? And a snake again. When we calm down, I go looking in the bag. There's one of those Letterman jackets. Something's wrapped in it. It's a kid, Sam says, and I think he's about to faint. I think it's a box, I tell him. That's what it turns out to be, too. This wooden box. It's got some teeth, pictures, and a pair of old plastic binoculars inside. Weird, we both say. The pictures are all pretty old and they're all boys. Like boys me and Sam's age. Teens. None of them look like they know their pictures being taken. Most of them are on the street. A few seem to be in their homes. I only recognize one person on the phone. Yeah, that's Dad, I tell Sam. One of the other boys is wearing the jacket we pulled out the bag. I tell him, it must really be her. He's nodding, but not saying anything. We're both thinking about it. That's just not possible. She'd have to be like 70. No Botox makes a granny look like that. I guess it could be her daughter still. But why bury this stuff after all this time? It doesn't make any sense. We agree we have to show Dad. That's what we finally did yesterday morning. Oh, he was mad. We lost window privileges. You ever heard of that grounding? Taped up our windows with cardboard. After that, he took us on a drive with him. Just driving around. And he talked. We kept our mouths shut. My whole life been in apartments, he said. Always paying rent to somebody, nothing for myself. This is the first time I have a place of my own. You boys know that. We aren't going nowhere. So, you just have to stay away from that female next door. Stay away from that house. From that yard. Don't look at dem tidies. There's enough of those on TV these days. You get me? We got him. Dad gave us plenty of talks before. He's like Obama with the speeches. He never gave us one like this before. Red Finney wasn't so stupid, he said. He was stupid. But he was stupid 'cause he always listened to me. Red thought Thaddeus was the smartest boy there ever lived. I was the stupidest one there. I was the one that started him. He pulled into the casino parking lot and stopped. After we heard the scream, I was spying on that house all the time. Had my cheap binoculars. I saw that female. Just her shape. Finally, one night, all the lights went off. I called up Red and we went. One of the back windows was left wide open. We didn't even have to break. Just had to enter. There was this funny smell. Almost choked you. We could hear snoring upstairs. Red says he'll take downstairs and the basement. I get to 2 upstairs floors. I'm looking in all these rooms. Just empty bedrooms. I hear the snoring coming out of one and these little female moans. I got that girl fever going, so I decided I got to peek in the room. I go really slow. I'm scared as hell, but I think I'ma see her sprawled out there on the bed in some tiny nightgown. That's not what's in there. There isn't anyone in that bed. It's a record been playing the sounds the whole time. I tell myself that I'm stupid. And Red's stupid. And we're both stupid. There's real trouble here. I see these pictures around the record player. Same ones you found in that box. I try to sneak out of there and go get Red. The door won't push open. I push harder and it starts moving. Then I heard this laughing. Old man was pressed up against the door. I'm so scared now I get mad. What the hell you are doing, you old creep? I say something to that effect. He tells me he has some candy for me. but he's holding a wood chisel. I ran out there. I hear Red screaming from the basement. Then it stops. He won't answer. I heard someone coming and laughing. I thought I was gonna die. The window I came in is closed up solid now. So, I smashed through that thing. Still have the scar on my ass. And I went. Told what I could without implication myself. Maybe I should have told more. Maybe Red might still be alive today. That's what I have to live with. He could still be alive, I said. Son, which was Red's jacket you found, Dad said. He wore it that day. That place was evil. That female is evil. We drove back home and didn't say another word. Since then, we haven't looked at that house. Sorry for any typos. Got to school tomorrow. I have to get to bed. Had to rush this out like it is. Hope it all makes sense.
Thanks for watching. Please comment, like, share and subscribe. The Internet Surfer on YouTube for more horror and scary stories.